Well, once again this year we decided to start West Texas Outdoor Adventures with a mule deer hunt. I really like that because it's the thing I'm least experienced at. I just didn't do it a lot growing up in Kansas, and it's been a blast in West Texas to get to do that and hang out with a lot of old friends. It was nice to get out there the day before, and that energy you get the day before the hunt, I really love that. And saw a lot of old friends. We got some of the blinds ready because that's something we've had success at hunting out here is blind hunting, but we know we're also going to have to put in our time doing a lot of the stalking and glassing and all that good stuff. But we saw deer when we were setting up everything, so that's a positive sign. We were pretty excited going into day one. My excitement, though, from the night before kind of took a step back on Saturday. We had a really rough first day. It was one of those times where everything we tried last year, of course, didn't work, and it was a little rough. That will close day number one, and it's not from a lack of effort that we didn't get a deer today. We glassed our asses off, we drove around. Really kind of got thrown for a curveball today, didn't we? A little tougher than we anticipated.
Oh yeah, you know, wind wasn't too bad, but deer didn't move like I expected them to. Been coming in quite often, seeing them on camera regularly, but any little change in pattern usually will throw them off, but we'll keep at it and get back after them tomorrow.
We saw deer, which is the good news. They're moving around, and we've got a little bit of a weather change coming tomorrow. We're going to battle a higher wind. Probably going to have to look at our strategy a little bit, aren't we?
Oh yeah, hopefully we keep the yellow jackets down, but not sure that blind hunt will be our best suit tomorrow, but we'll make it work and we'll figure something out and try to get something on the ground.
Now, if we seem a little down right there, there's a reason for it, because last year we were spoiled brats. We had success early and often on this show, especially mule deer season. It was cold and miserable, but 5 hours of effort, and we had 2 deer on the ground, including a really nice one to close out the day. So we were getting a little nervous after one day there, and we just didn't see a lot of deer, but you know how it is, things can turn in a hurry. Day number 2, we woke up with a renewed energy, and we were hoping it was going to go a lot better. More traditional mule deer hunting today. Stalking, spotting, a lot of miles were going to have to be covered. It just wasn't a day where blind hunting was going to work very well, and we put in a lot of effort. We stalked, we spotted, we saw a lot of deer, just not what we were after, and it started to get that point where you start to get a little bit nervous. But then we saw some does and we saw some other things, and we just thought it was a matter of time before we actually got to see a decent mule deer that was going to pique our interest.
That way, that would be the pasture that they saw us during yesterday. So we'll go down that fence line and then we'll make our way back over there to where I think those are deer. We see those deer.
The first 3 or 4 pastures that we went to, we were just basically seeing does and fawns, and that's not what we were after. And we kind of went across the road to a different area, and the wind was starting to pick up. We could feel it getting nastier, but we had some success. We finally saw a buck, and he wasn't real spooked of us, as you can tell, but he was also a little bitty guy. In a few more years, I doubt he's going to be that calm, but you know, kudos to him. He had a doe there with him, so he was working a little bit of game, so he had a little bit of a harem started, but he let us look at him there for a while before he decided he'd had enough and headed off for the day. Now, shortly after the little buck headed off, Mother Nature firmly reminded us that she's in charge. Finally, in the evening, the wind backed down just a little bit to where we could get out and hunt. And we were scouting around, and finally, as the sun's kind of dipping over the horizon, Jared's through the glasses and he says, "Hey, I think I see a big deer." And we looked on the edge of a wheat field more than a mile away, and you could see a really big body. There's no doubt that's what we're after. And we had to close ground in a hurry. The sun's going away. I'm getting nervous because we're about out of camera light as it is. We sneak up all the way to this wheat field. We get to the edge of the fence and the deer's not there. You know, the gray ghost, that's what they do. They disappear very quickly. So we go over this fence and we get into this grass, and you're starting to get that moment of despair setting in where you just don't know where the deer is at. Finally, as we're walking through that grass, Jarrett yells at me, "Get down." And I look over to where they're at, and you can see antlers sticking up. And it's the type of antlers that it's business time. This is a really big mule deer. It's the deer we saw on the edge of the wheat field when he was eating. Now we just had to get him up. And this was a really tough task with the wind, and he just wasn't spooking. Everything we were trying was falling short. He heard you. As you can see, we're pretty much making an ass of ourselves right now yelling at this deer. Jarrett and Nolan are within 40 yards of this deer. It's just a matter of getting him to stand up. So we decided to take drastic measures because we're about out of legal shooting light and we're almost damn sure out of camera light. Nolan works around in front of this deer and we think that's going to be the key to distract him where he'll get up and we can get a shot on him. We tried everything we could. We were at that moment where he had to get his attention and get him up, and he got his attention. Well, that sucked. It's still kind of hard watching that even months removed from this situation because you second guess yourself. You go back to every single thing that we did and ask, what could we have done different to got that deer up in a way where we could get a shot on him? And Jarrett took a running shot on him, and that's an extremely difficult thing to do, and he just missed, and deer jumped the property line and off he went. And it's just one of those things where you got to replace disappointment with learning and try to figure out what you did wrong. And I guess that's why we called this episode Lessons of the Gray Ghost, because I think we learned a lot that day. It's going to sting, and it's going to sting for 365 plus days until we get around to another mule deer season. But I hope we're wiser, and I hope we're smarter, and I hope we learn something from our mule deer hunting experience.